ToonGrin.com.
What? Is this all vegetables? Who wanted all vegetables?
I did. So, are we going to talk about it?
What?
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
Mom's new job.
Hello and welcome to Watchin' Stuff, the show about watching stuff. I'm Nero, with me is my Canadian counterpart WHYBOY, and today, 14 years in the making, okay? 14 years. Mm-hmm. They finally got around to making Incredibles 2. And now keep in mind, before they got around to this, 2 Finding Nemo movies. 3 Cars movies.
What, 2 Finding Nemo movies? What are you talking about? There's only Finding Nemo and then Finding Dory.
As far as I'm concerned, it's part of the damn franchise. It's all the same crap.
That's not what you mean. What you say when you said 2 Finding Nemo movies. I think you, sir, are silly.
So
very silly.
They're 2 movies about fish. All right.
Okay.
There are 3 car movies. For some reason.
Yeah.
I guess John Lasseter was really proud of that one. God, I wish he was caught before he even got to like Cars 2. That would have been great. He got like kicked out. We're not making Cars anymore. He's gone.
Yeah.
So now we're finally here. 14 years in the making. The Incredibles 2. A long-awaited sequel to the 2004 animated film. And if you guys hadn't seen it, we did talk about the first one last week. Click the card above whoever's head.
Yeah, and we'll just place the link. Because there is something special that we can talk about today, because this is our first episode of Watching Stuff Live.
Yeah, we're live streaming this right now, so we got an audience watching us. So, if we look bad, we
always look bad, Nero.
Oh.
We gotta accept that. To better ourselves.
To own it?
Yeah, to own it.
Is it like Kratos says? We don't need to be sorry, we just need to be better?
Exactly. But we just need to feel more sorry. Because then people will feel sorry for us.
Anyways, so Incredibles 2. This has been a long talked about movie, and I'm kind of surprised they're doing it now, because part of it is that like
there's a big superhero climate right now.
There's a huge superhero climate right now. They're making superhero movies are always churning out now more than ever, especially because Disney owns Marvel, and I think they always aim for 2 to 3 films a year now.
Yeah, so it's not like it is completely unprecedented to have Incredibles 2 come back, especially in this new modern age of superhero movies.
I wonder if that's why it happened, though. Like, I understood that I've seen interviews where Brad Bird talked about a sequel for a long time now,
right.
And he would always say, like, oh, I want to do a sequel, but I want it to be a story that's worth telling. And to me, it's wondering, because it just took so long, did it take so long because he was just waiting to find the good story to tell? Or was Disney like, hey, look, man, superheroes are like an all-time high right now. We're riding that like Infinity War money train right now. You need to crap out Incredibles 2, all right?
Yeah.
You need to get to it.
Yeah, definitely, like we discussed in our first podcast, we had some worries for Incredibles 2.
Oh, yeah.
Like from the trailers and such, we were worried that this was going to be another, like, girl power sort of movie.
Yeah, like Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah, exactly. Where Elastigirl just goes off on her own, just be a cool crime-fighting gal.
Can you believe that there's really no point in this movie that does that? Or it's like, hot damn, a female superhero. No, it's just like, there's a superhero, and that's it.
Yeah, there's only like one time, but it was actually from Helen herself, just saying like, oh, it's from the clip from the first movie. It's like, what was it? It's like, oh, have all the men go out just be the superheroes? I don't think so. That was her saying that from the first movie, so that, you can't even count that as the second movie making a message.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I find that really strong and powerful, because the point of Helen being a great superhero is that she's the superhero, not the fact that she doesn't have a penis between her legs.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the out of all the shows to make such a point. It goes back to that Sonic Boom clip with Knuckles, where he flat out mentions, if you bring attention to it and treat it as an exception as opposed to just treating it like it's the status quo, then you're completely defeating the purpose of it even existing.
Right.
And, I like that. This movie's a little bit of everything. I kind of like that. Okay, so the basic story is it is literally picking up directly after the first film. At the end of that first movie with the Underminer, it directly picks up from that where they're fighting the Underminer who is attempting to rob a bank.
Yeah.
And
the Incredibles try to stop him, but he gets away, and the Incredibles get basically caught by the police, superheroing, which is still illegal.
I just realized that they never caught him.
Yeah, no.
Even when the movie ended, it's there was never a follow-up to that. He just got away. He's underground somewhere doing something.
Maybe he just ended his life of crime. He had all that money after all. Maybe realistically...
No, he didn't have that money. Remember they blew up his... Oh, no, they didn't blow up his drill.
No, they didn't. He went into his own drill, which was filled with the money, and then he went away.
Oh, yeah, then he's probably chilling on an island somewhere, in Cabo, with his cool robot hands.
Yeah.
He's cute.
Yeah, so the Incredibles are basically relocated again.
To a motel.
Yeah, and the government person has been, basically his whole sector has been disbanded.
That's so sad that, his entire sector got, liquidated. Because they're look, what was it? The governments flat out came together, Congress said, you know what? That's it, we're done. No more superheroes. Just cut this crap.
Yeah, stop helping them or anything like that. They're on their own.
Yeah, that's it. They're screwed. And that to me is oh. And I can't help. Actually, I'll bring that up after we're done talking about the story. So, from there, eventually they are contacted by this wealthy entrepreneur, which is kind of like the first movie, actually, because Bob was contacted by Syndrome in the original, who was a wealthy entrepreneur. And
but this guy is on the straight and narrow still.
Yeah, this character is this. It's funny. This so reminds me of comic books.
Yeah.
Because this God, I can't remember his name in this because he was. Yeah, you know what I was thrown away with this character the entire time?
Yeah.
Was the voice. I'm I know this voice, and I couldn't put it. I figured out who it was at the very end.
Who?
If you ever seen Breaking Bad, there's this really scummy conman lawyer called Saul.
Oh.
It was that guy. He was voicing the rich dude because the guy voicing Rick, the liaison for Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl.
Yeah.
His voice actor is also on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there the entire time and I'm man, I know this rich guy's voice from somewhere. Where's it from? This is driving me crazy. And it just kept spinning in the back of my head. And then at the very end, as soon as the credits roll, Better Call Saul. That was it. That's who it was.
Yeah,
and it was just driving me nuts.
Because from the show, Saul is a disgusting scumbag basically in the show. But this guy, he's just a superhero fanboy who just wants to bring the supers back into the limelight.
It's funny because DC Comics had a character like this called Maxwell Lord, and he wasn't as eccentric. But Maxwell Lord's whole thing was he believed in the superhero community, so he actually funded his own small team of B-list superheroes.
Right. And
then eventually DC screwed it up and made him a bad guy, and he started murdering people, and it turned into a whole horrible kerfuffle. I like with this guy though is it was all genuine. It was a superhero. It was a little boy grew up into a man who's such a fan of superheroes that's it's unfair that you people aren't appreciated for
it. It is sort of a parallel to what Syndrome was as well, because he was a little fanboy superhero, but his sort of fanboyism grew into something poisonous, which made him kill a bunch of supers in his movie.
Yeah, well, Syndrome was the toxic fanboy, so he grew very resentful of Mr. Incredible because Mr. Incredible just didn't give him what he wanted.
Yeah,
and he basically turned into that selfish little kid as an adult.
Yeah, and then this guy actually just sees superheroes. That's what they are. They're icons. They're icons that make you feel safe, and that just push you into being a better person.
I wonder if Brad Bird was inspired because Man of Steel happened, and it was so dour about Superman. Because in a real world with Superman, it's not going to be he flies over us and we smile up at him, or that he takes a kitten from a tree and we're all happy he's here. But it's going to be no man, it's horrifying if Superman actually existed. Think how destructive he would be. Think how dangerous he would be. I can't help but think Brad Bird while writing this was no, damn it, you're supposed to love superheroes. They're supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And if we're supposed to just fear them, what's the point?
Right.
That's not a superhero then.
It's just a super jerk.
Well, it's like how we're with cops right now.
Yeah.
We're a lot of people are really afraid of cops. And it's like, you shouldn't be afraid of cops. Cops should be your friends.
Yeah, they should be basically real-life superheroes.
Yeah, exactly the point. And that's where I think with this character is coming in, where it's like, superheroes should be appreciated, they should be loved, and he was really adamant about bringing that back to the foreground, about getting, like, Congress to push a new legislation that says, like, superheroes are back and allowed to be out and,
right, exactly. And the way to do that is because he first brings in Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone there. He wants to have one of them be basically the poster person for this new movement.
Yeah, because you want to have somebody who is strong, not just physically, but like
a strong people person.
Yeah, like a strong persona that can be projected.
Yeah, so Mr. Incredible can't be that because he's kind of the face of the whole reason why they are no more supers.
Yeah, it's that, and look, I love Mr. Incredible. I adore him. But he's like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when your only ability is like you're super durable and super strong, chances are you're just gonna break stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the luxury of Superman's other abilities, where it's like he's also super fast, he's also hyper intelligent. He's got X-ray vision, X-ray hearing, and all these other abilities.
Right.
So it's like, look, you could hit stuff good. That's not really that great for all situations.
And so that's why Elastigirl is chosen to be the spokesperson of this new legislation push.
How come not Frozone? Because he's black? Like, thinking about it now, it's like, wait a minute, why didn't they choose Frozone? And it's like,
because his powers are actually like really, really diversible and such. Like,
actually, his are kind of devastating if you think about it, because he puts ice everywhere.
Yeah, he just takes the moisture out of the air and all that. He can make snow and all that sort of stuff, just stopping things. Like, I guess just Elastigirl, because
it's probably the least destructive in terms of powers.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, she stretches. That's it.
Yeah, she can just give you a really nasty punch.
Yeah, I guess if you're like, look, if we're comparing, like, look, who here's the most dangerous? Probably Bob.
Yeah, Mr. Incredible will just basically make your insides your outsides one punch.
Yeah, Frozone, I mean, we've seen that he can
make your insides popsicles.
Yeah, well, we've seen he could freeze you without killing you, because he did that in the first movie when the cop shot at him.
Right.
Like, he was able to... So, I don't know, like, just thinking about it now, it's like, why didn't they choose Frozone? They never even give, like, a reason. But at the same time, he didn't seem like he was even upset that they chose Helen. He was just like, cool.
Yeah. It's not... He probably just thought, like, Elastigirl. She's popular, she's very personable, and everyone really likes her.
Also, Disney likes having female leads, so, I mean, that probably made them happy, too. They're probably going to market that somehow.
Oh, yeah. That's probably what they were marketing it in the trailers and all that.
Kind of, because if you watch the trailer, it's not the same movie you're kind of getting.
Yeah.
I expected
all the fanboys around her just going like, "Oh my god, she's a great female superhero."
Some of the fanboys, I was maybe expecting some of the... I figured they might have gone a bit more political, where it's like some of the women are like, oh, she's too busy to be raising her super family. She's out here. What's that about? You've seen it where it's like, there are people who get mad at women who decide, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, there are women who get mad at other women for like, why don't you want a career? Why don't you want to get out? I just want to be a stay-at-home mom and raise my kids. What's wrong with you? Why do you care? Why is this a problem? Like, I can't raise my damn kid now?
Yeah, and that's what was one of our biggest worries, but it doesn't really go in that way, because Elastigirl goes off to be basically the superhero for this company, and Bob gets basically put back at home. He's the stay-at-home parent now.
I really loved that angle so much, because one of the things we missed out on the first film, we really didn't get to see Helen be too much of a stay-at-home mom. We saw bits and pieces, but really, even the first movie, it was more about Bob a little bit capturing the lightning in the bottle and dealing with, the demons of his past. Like, I wish I had that glory days. I don't have it anymore. Look at the monster I created because of how I acted.
Yeah, basically because in a lot of ways, she's basically written as someone who basically has the home life under control and all that. It's basically Bob's the one that usually throws in disarray each time, and she has to be the one to basically just sort of keep the family on the straight and narrow. So that would make more sense in the first movie. But now that you put both of the parents into completely diametrical opposite scenarios.
Except she owns it right away. Like, as soon as she jumps back into superheroing, she's just as awesome as she was before. It's like, she didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And you remember, I mentioned in the last review, I had said to you, like, I hope there's not going to be, like, a scene where she, like, resents Bob because he spends time with the kids and she doesn't. And the closest thing you get wasn't even her. It was just Bob was only just a bit upset because he wishes he was out there being a superhero, but he doesn't even hate her for it or anything.
Yeah, he's just really frustrated over it, which is actually so much more natural.
Well, yeah, because he's like, that's what I'm good at. I'm good at being like. You have that moment in the movie, like after everything compiles, he has that very sweet, sincere moment with Violet, and he just says, "I just wish I was a good dad," and you're just like. Oh man, you're a great dad. What are you talking about? You love these kids. Dude, you stayed up all night learning new forms of mathematics just so you could teach your son.
Yeah.
That is so beyond what I expect the Call of Duty to have been.
Yeah, Incredibles 2 basically does everything that we wished for in the first movie to have. We got Bob to be an actual father to these kids. Because he doesn't really super in this movie at all.
No, and I prefer that.
Yeah, I really did prefer that because we already saw Bob be kick-ass in the first movie, doing all this superhero sort of stuff. We saw him struggle with that.
Yeah.
We saw him persevere against that. We saw him overcome that. Now he has to overcome being an actual family now. Actually have to go back to the actual family life and all that.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like, you see him, the way he deals with everything is so genuine and real, and stuff that I didn't experience, like with my parents. Like, dude, when I was bad at math, I was just kind of vaguely left on my own. Maybe I went to tutoring and stuff, and a lot of help I got from my friend Duke, who helped me through math. But like, I never had like my father crack open a math book, try to understand it, then come and help me.
Yeah, and you see him go from being super frustrated about it to actually persevering towards it.
Yeah, that's why I love that scene where he's just like, Dad, I don't think that's the way they want me to do that. Well, that's the way I know how to do it. Yeah, but that's not how they want me to do it.
Why do they change math?
Like, math is math. Who cares as long as you get the right answer? Yeah, but that's not how they want it. Math is math. That's how it works. And you're just like, dude, from me to you, I've been there, man. No question. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's so real. Because then, like, he gets that boiling point where it's like, I need to step it up.
He's stressed. He hasn't slept at all because he's been trying so hard to basically be that perfect dad for his wife. Because Helen at this point doesn't really fully believe in Bob to really take care of everything, because Bob's been the one that's basically been always at the insurance agency and all that, been the away parent and such.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of him, it's not like she's like, oh, you're gonna screw up the kids. It was more like, you just have no experience in this. At least like she could even make the argument, I was a superhero before I settled down. So me becoming a superhero again isn't that big of a stretch. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Whereas with you, you were the away dad, you were the businessman, you were the breadwinner.
Yeah.
You have no understanding of how this works.
Yeah.
So this is all new territory for you, and you're definitely going to struggle with it. And he totally does, but it's so endearing because like everything he does is him just trying to be a good father. And it's heartwarming.
Yeah, I feel that is sort of really one of the backbones of the movie that really makes it more endearing even than the first one. But in a way, I don't want to say like one is like the second is better than the first one.
It's two different stories. It really depends on what story resonates with you more. Does the first one resonate with you more in that it's like sort of like, it's like the passing of heroes, like, oh, they're not allowed to be around anymore. So the first one's way more dreary comparatively to this one. This one feels a lot more upbeat.
Happy and just pushing forward and such. While this one basically just overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
And there's definitely something that can be said that both of them have the pros and cons to them.
And I'm sure if we rewatch this and did like a CC or an NR, we'd probably pull more from it, most certainly, because we'd be able to go through it with like a fine-tooth comb.
Right. But speaking of it, it's just sort of an initial viewing experience sort of thing. Like in Incredibles and Incredibles 2, they're both very solid stories with very solid narratives to them.
Yeah, and it depends on what resonates with you more on a personal level. I 100% knew where they were going with the villain with this.
Yeah.
I won't spoil the mystery.
I just want to say, just to our viewers right now, spoilers are definitely coming now. We're going to talk about more about the villain and all that sort of stuff, so spoilers at this point. Moving forward. Go.
I knew it was going to be her.
Yeah.
Like, the moment those two characters showed up, I was like, well, the obvious one would be him. So it's not going to be that. It's going to be her.
Yeah.
See, it's the only way.
Yeah. This is the villain, the screenslaver.
It's funny. Oh, that's such a Silver Agey supervillain name.
Yeah.
It's like it's like Spellbinder. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Riddler and stuff.
Yeah, it's basically just this new hypnosis superhero that
Supervillain.
Supervillain that Elastigirl has to fight. That's been setting Elastigirl up on these really huge, horrible travesties, like a train derailing, the kidnapping of a senator.
Mm-hmm. And well, it wasn't even really a kidnapping so much as an attempted murder of a senator.
Yeah,
because like it's not really kidnapping when you try to crash a helicopter into another helicopter.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I'm not sure at that point. It's like it's not really kidnapping. That's just murder.
Yeah. There's something a lot to be said about this villain in terms of the compared to Syndrome and such. Because Syndrome definitely had a much more drearier sort of.
I'm not sure which one I prefer because like her motivation, I knew it the moment they told the backstory for the two kids.
Yeah.
Like because like they were talking like when we were kids, our dad who was like this weird Walt Disney looking dude, idolized superheroes, and he idolized them to such a degree that when robbers broke into their house, he tried calling his superhero friends. He tried calling Gazerbeam and I can't remember the other guy, the fire guy.
Yeah.
And obviously Syndrome killed them.
Yeah.
In the first film, he killed them when he was doing his experiment with the Omni droid, so they were dead. And that guy didn't know about that. And so when the criminals who broke into his house saw that he was on the phone, they shot him dead. And then his wife died a couple months later of heartbreak. And the son grew up thinking, if we had the supers around, this wouldn't have been a problem. If we had these people protecting us, the world would be safer. The world would be better.
And the girl grew up basically because we had these supers around. We got so attached to them. We basically grew to be weaker and not be able to self-reliant.
That's also pulled actually from comics. Depending on what era you're reading, some versions of Lex Luthor, one of the reasons why he hates Superman is because he sees Superman as basically like stagnation personified.
Yeah, basically just sort of excuse for people to basically be lazy and such while Superman saves the day.
Yeah, like one of the things he has been said in the past are things like where he's like, oh, now that you're here, you know what's going to happen? It's like we're in the Dark Ages. Everybody looks at you like some kind of magical god. Now we don't need to progress. We don't need to get smarter. We don't need to do anything for ourselves because you're going to do everything for us. And it makes him angry because Lex Luthor is a person who grew up impoverished. And because he grew up impoverished, he grew up in an abusive household. Becoming the billionaire he is, he's a self-made man. Yeah, he did scummy things to get there, but he built himself up. So the idea that Superman shows up and it's like, you're everything I freaking was working against. You know, you're the freaking roadblock to us moving forward. And that's how the supervillain sees it. This is how the screenslaver sees it. Is like, you're a roadblock. Because you know what's going to happen? You people show up, and we expect you to do everything. Which, if you actually go back to the first movie, she wasn't wrong. Because remember, like, Bon Voyage got away, and the cops look at Mr. Krell and said, aren't you going to help us catch him? You're cops!
Yeah.
You're supposed to also catch your bad guys too, dude!
So that is very intelligent, because both ways are correct in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
Like, superheroes do save the day, but we get to get complacent and attached to them.
No, that's one of the best ways you can write a compelling villain versus okay, we've done the whole entertaining villain argument where you and I have said, like, a villain who's just fun, like Pete from the Three Musketeers Mickey Mouse cartoon.
Yeah,
you know,
with a big personality, boisterous personality that basically sort of reflects what the main heroes are trying to stand for against them, can be really fun.
Yeah, and he's just quirky and, you know, he doesn't really have any deep philosophical motivation of why he wants power. It's the same thing like Hades. Hades doesn't have some deep emotional reason why he wants power. He's just like, screw Zeus. Yeah. Why am I not king of the gods? Screw him.
Yeah, and just his personality is just an offset of the main heroes. And basically that's why they clash.
Yeah, whereas like a good villain, a good layered villain, is a villain you kind of agree with on viewpoints. And, you know, some people are like, oh, if you agree with the villain, you're bad. No! You have to look at it like both ways. Are superheroes being around great? They can be. Superheroes can do great things for the community. They could lift morale. They have the potential to do great things. But they also have the potential to cause stagnation.
Yeah.
Because it's like, look, if you're a cop in Gotham City, let's be honest. Are you really going to go after the Joker? Or are you just going to leave it to the guy in the bat costume to take care of it?
Right, exactly. Like, there was a bit of writing advice that I got a while back. Like, most villains don't see themselves as the villain. They see themselves as the hero of their own story.
Oh, yeah. Like, and that's the thing. Like, if you go to some of the certain Marvel films, and it depends on which ones you go to, like Infinity War, Thanos, his plan is to wipe out half of life in the known universe so that the other half may thrive, so that the other half won't be stuck with limited resources.
Right.
in his view, as horrible as it is, he thinks he's the good guy.
Yeah, like the villain in Black Panther as well. Like, even though his thing was
Killmonger?
like... Yeah, Killmonger.
Well,
It's
except the writing at some point, you just go, well, you're just a racist, crazy person. That's
maybe just a racist, crazy person, but at the same time, he's still thinking like, oh, these people have been oppressing us for years and years and years, so we have to just take it all back from them. Just make them pay for it.
That's literally two wrongs trying to make a right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, no.
Yeah, it's close to it. It's just a badly written version of that. And at the same time, it's like, we gotta get the slaves, man. I remember the slaves.
I'd rather be free than in bondage. Asshole, you grew up in like Chicago or something. You weren't like put on a boat and whipped repeatedly for not picking cotton.
You just lived in a sucky neighborhood.
Yeah, you lived in a crap neighborhood and your dad died. That sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, at the very most, you would have to deal with like police-based racism and such.
And even then, we don't know that. We're just inferring it might have happened.
Yeah.
Because that's all we can do. But that's the thing. The good villains are ones that make you think they're kind of right. Thanos, he might be right. He's clearly a crazy person.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, but if the other half can thrive and be better to reach a utopia, and he's tested it on other alien worlds and it's worked, he's not 100% wrong then. Because he's got like factual data that's like, it works.
Right.
So you're like, okay, still pretty screwed up. You know, Doctor Doom is the same way in comics, where Doctor Doom's like, I've looked through the multiverse, and I've noticed one thing. Only one world is safe from prejudice, world hunger, and all manner of disease. What's that? Doom world. When I'm king god of everything, everyone else is happy and safe.
Right.
And it's like, well, I can't fault that logic, though. He looked it up. Like, he found, like, the data that proves it. So it's...
Yeah, we still don't want to actually do it.
No,
because do it in awful ways.
Yeah, because that asks like the moral question. Would you rather be happy, complacent and safe, or free will and there being always risk involved?
Right.
Because what's really living? And actually, that's sort of what's brought up in this a little bit, because like Screenslaver brings up where it's like you're all so complacent now because of the supers. Yeah. Because you expect them just to come in and help you, and that's it. You don't want to do anything for yourselves.
Yeah. So Screenslaver is a really fun villain, and
better written, a bit better than Syndrome, because when you get down to it, Buddy was just some angry, pathetic fanboy.
But at the same time, that does make him almost a strong sort of character as well. He's basically a lot more emotion-based and such.
He's psychotic.
Basically just hits about right where it hurts. Like, he made his fan turn into that, which basically hurts him deep down like that.
Yeah, it's a different kind of villain.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I'm glad it wasn't just like, they didn't rehash. There's like no rehashing in this.
It's like Syndrome again, but with a scar over his eye.
I was genuinely surprised, because there was a small part in that's like, is it going to be like Mecha Syndrome or like a clone, because that's a thing in comics, or is it going to be like a life model decoy was the one that was destroyed?
Right.
And it's like, no, Syndrome's dead, dude. This is someone else. And it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Okay. And honestly, if they do go 3, which, again, I'm fine if they don't. Again, this is another movie where you're like, satisfied. I can do without having a sequel. If I get one that's as good, great. Otherwise, I'm satisfied. I don't want them to ever bring back Syndrome. I don't want them to go backwards.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going forward. New villains, new ideas, new directions.
Right.
Like a villain they still haven't dealt with, they need to fight like a Joker. They need to fight somebody that's all about anarchy. Like, not that they want to upset the status quo, but so much that they just love, like, blowing crap. But, like, they're not normal. Like, you can pinpoint intelligent villains. They're easier to pinpoint because they usually have, like, a certain motif of how they go about doing things.
Yeah, and certain just the way they go about their plans and such. It basically has just sort of a mental through line through each one.
Yeah, like, Lex Luthor is so arrogant with his stupid robots half the time. He'll use, like, computer chips from LexCorp.
Yeah.
And be like, they're not going to trace it back to me. And it's like, they're
LexCorp chip.
Yeah, it's a LexCorp computer chip. And he's like, well, that shipment could have easily been stolen from one of my warehouses. I dare you to disprove it.
You're under arrest.
No, and he gets away with stuff like that because he's a rich billionaire that's untouched. That's one of the funniest jokes in this movie, actually. Yeah. Where it's like, I'm sorry that your sister's going to go to jail. And then Violet goes, I'm sorry that she's so rich, she's probably going to just get a slap on the wrist for this.
And he's like, Violet, I just want to say I like you.
I think that's just so funny because all of us have had that thought. Every time we see a celebrity or a wealthy person in the news for something. Like, what was it? It was Justin Bieber. Like, Justin Bieber caught DUI. his ass should just go to jail because he was endangering people. No, you have to pay like a couple thousand and you'll be back on the street in no time. Oh, it must be nice to be such a crappy singer and have all that money that you're able to like endanger the lives of your fellow man like a douchebag.
Yeah, exactly.
And and you're off.
Yeah, so the villain of this whole piece was great. But I think the last thing we should really talk about is the kids. Because in the last movie...
They're characters now.
Yeah, Dash and Violet were quite simply the weakest characters in that whole movie. As they didn't really have a sort of purpose to be there.
They were... Well, their purpose was emotional. That was it. Like, they were there because, like, oh, if it was Bob's wife just on the plane, that's sad. And now if it's Bob's wife and his kids on the plane, that's much worse.
Yeah. But other than that, nothing much else.
No, Violet actually has a character in this. She's a teenager. Like, you could argue, oh, she's annoying in this. Of course she's annoying in this. She's a teenager.
Yeah, I never really found her annoying. I definitely found her, like, erratic as a teenager and stuff.
Well, that's what I mean by annoying, is, like, she acts like 100% like a teenage girl does.
Yeah.
Like, she gets upset when she, like, gets embarrassed. She gets upset when things aren't working out. She gets upset when, like, the boy she likes doesn't respond to her. But it's not a creepy thing. There's a whole weird, hilarious story where they handled it very quickly, but it was handled in a good way where Violet got seen with her mask off, so her secret identity got figured out, and they mind wiped the kid that she asked out at the end of the first movie, and they mind whammied him so hard that he forgot who she was.
Yeah.
And she was so heartbroken, and you're just like, oh, this is so sad.
Yeah.
And Bob tries so damn hard to be a good dad, to do the right thing. So it's like, okay, I know he works at this place. He works at this like Denny's that is like parents owned. I'll go to this diner.
I'll get them to talk.
Everything will be fine then. And it goes completely down the crapper.
And everything went down the crapper in a really funny way that I wasn't really expecting.
Oh, came completely out of left field how it went down.
Yeah, that makes it really great. Like, I think a lot of people are going to get a good laugh out of that.
Oh, yeah. And like, I like the fact that everything Bob does, though, with his kids, he has great moments with all of his children. It's not like the first film where you're like, he doesn't really do too much. Like, he
throws a football with Dash.
He throws a football with Dash, and that's it. He and his wife clearly have a romantic relationship, but that's really it. You don't really see him do much with Violet. Jack is barely even acknowledged in that first film.
Yeah.
I mean, the first film puts Jack like on the bus to go away for the majority of that film.
Yeah.
That other than at the very, like, towards the end where Syndrome tries to abduct him, or when they call the babysitter.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like, oh, right, they have a third kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I totally kind of forgot that was the thing.
But this time, Jack is a much more bigger player now. He's still sort of like a MacGuffin sort of thing, because, like, the first movie, he basically has, like, almost infinite amount of powers.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to the first movie, too, because the way Edna described him in the first film, she said, he's just potential.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what he is. He's just potential right now. So even in this movie, they just dial it up to 11, where it's like, oh, he's got, like, every superpower. He could phase through walls. He's got laser vision. He could ignite himself with pyrokinesis. He could increase his mass. He can teleport through dimensions.
Multiply.
He can... Yeah, biofission. That's another one. Monster. So, like, Berserker Rage. He could do whatever. He's a whatever baby.
Yeah, Bob said he had, like, 17 powers.
Yeah, oh, no, he said, like, you only missed the first 17 powers.
Yeah.
When she's like, I missed Jack's first powers. Honey, you missed Jack's first 17 powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I gotta say, though, like, the father moments with him are all really good. Like, him realizing, I have to teach my boy math.
Yeah, that's strong.
Like, I love that. He cracks open the math book and he reads it and he gets him up before school and he goes, hey, Dash, I think I understand your math now. Do you want to try and get it finished before you go to school?
Yeah.
And he helps them, and they figure it out together.
And then him trying to talk with Violet and such, through taking her to the restaurant, and him having his near psychotic breakdown near the ending of the movie.
Oh, where he's got, like, the hilarious bloodshot eyes and everything?
Yeah, those are strong moments with Violet as well. It makes you look very endearing. And then you have the Jack moments, which are definitely...
Can you believe that raccoon was only one scene?
Yeah,
I swear, he's on the poster. I thought he was going to be like the okay, no joke.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like the Incredipet.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be the thing.
Yeah, because we were looking at a nearby Walmart, and there was Jack, and this like little raccoon thing, and you were telling me it's just like, it's going to be like, oh crap, they're going to have like a thing throughout the whole movie and all.
Yeah, no, it's just one really funny scene is Bob falls asleep watching television, and Jack Jack was watching TV with him, and Jack Jack's watching a old black and white serial of like cops and robbers, and the robber is some dude in a bandit mask, and then Jack Jack looks out the glass door and sees a raccoon in the garbage can. And then he looks at like the bandit, and then he looks at the raccoon.
It's a fuzzy raccoon mask.
And he's like, it's the same thing. So Jack Jack spends like 5 minutes defending the house, and he gets into this amazing, he's also like super durable.
Yeah.
He gets into like an amazing fist fight with this raccoon. And I can't help it the entire time I was thinking, I'm like, if Grunkle Stan was here, he would have been recording this to sell it.
Just placing bets on it.
Babies fighting raccoons. I could sell this. he's got like the camera phone out, and you're like, no, Grunkle Stan, what are you doing? And like I love it because like Bob sees that, and he's like, oh my god, my baby's freaking getting mauled by a raccoon. And then he comes out there, you're perfectly fine.
Oh, thank you, you're perfectly fine.
He's like, oh, you got superpowers. And like all of them go off simultaneously, and he's just like, oh yeah, my baby's a super baby. And he's just so happy and proud that his little boy has superpowers. And so, which to me was like, they couldn't do this story because they botched it by the end of the first film.
Yeah.
But they could have done a story where it's like, what if you're a super family and you don't have superpowers? Which they kind of did on a old Disney made-for-TV movie. It was called Up, Up, and Away. It's really old. I seriously doubt you remember it.
No, I'm just trying to think of like the new Disney one they basically...
Sky High.
Yeah, Sky High, that was it. And I'm also thinking My Hero Academia with that as well.
Yeah, well, but Sky High was different because in Sky High, the kid ended up getting super strength and flight.
So
yeah,
throw that out.
Yeah, like he originally didn't have powers, and that was the thing, is like, you just don't have powers, and there's nothing wrong with that. You'll end up being a sidekick, and there should be no shame in being a sidekick. And then he gets his dad's super strength and his mom's flight, so he's essentially Superman. So yeah, there's like that story has no weight at that point.
Right.
Whereas like Up, Up, and Away there was a kid, and he was in a family, and his dad was essentially like Superman, and everyone in his family had powers, but he didn't. So
right.
he didn't feel special.
Yeah.
And there's always that interesting story you could play. They play it for a good portion of Hotel Transylvania, and that's where it's good. And then they roll a natural one and then botch it at the third act. So they ruin the story. But if Jack Jack never was established to have powers, they could have gone that angle where it's like, how would Bob feel knowing one of his kids isn't super? Would he still love them all I mean, I think he most certainly would love them all the same.
Yeah, I think that's just an obvious question.
But it's like, that would be interesting to see how would they deal with having a non-super child.
Yeah.
But they can't do it now, and I don't really care that they can't. I actually would like to see if they did go third film, like...
If there was some method they could do that in?
Not even do that, but more like, I would like to see the kids older.
Yeah. Like
Teen Titan age. Maybe like... Dash, maybe early teens, Violet going slightly towards adulthood, maybe like the 18 age, and maybe like Jack Jack is like a 6-year-old superhero or something like that.
Yeah.
Something kind of like that to play with because like I would like the kids to also have a bit more personality, even though they were really good in this movie. They were fantastic. I still think my favorite scene in this was not any of the action scenes. It really was just Bob sitting on the couch, and he says, I just want to be a good dad.
Yeah.
Because he feels horrible. He feels like he's not a good dad to his children. And that's horrible for a parent to feel, because no parent wants to be
a horrible parent.
Bad for their kid.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be toxic for your child.
Of course.
Again, this is why I keep crying, like, when I watch, like, Dad of War. Because the whole thing with Kratos' whole thing is just that I want to be good for my boy. That's all I want to be.
I know.
So, like, all Bob wants to do is, like, I want to be good for my kids. I want to be able to... Like, he even says, like, at one point, he says, like, I know math. I should be able to teach my son math. Of course I should. So he goes downstairs in his robe, he cracks open a math book, and he frickin' reads it so he could teach his baby boy how to do math.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he just sits down and wants to talk with Violet, and he wants to help her. He doesn't want her to be sad.
Yeah.
No father would want that. I even love the father and children bonding moment where he's like, hey, check this out. And he teaches Jack how to shoot his heat vision by saying pew.
Yes.
And they use Jack like a gun.
Yeah.
And then he looks at the kids and he goes, no firing the baby in the house. I think that's a rule we can all agree on. And it's like, that's cute. Like, because this goes back to a Grant Morrison rule of writing Superman. Grant Morrison had said at one point, when it comes to writing Superman, and of course he speaks with a Scottish accent, so I'm going to throw on a really bad Scottish accent.
Of course, I allow you.
And he goes, Superman is like us. He's like us in every way, except he's super. You walk your dog. What do you do with your dog? You walk him around the block, right? Superman takes his dog and he walks him across the rings of Saturn. Superman's just like you. Just everything he does is super.
Yeah.
That's what superhero parents need to be. That you need to be a parent, but you just need to be super about it.
Right.
Like, Bob is a parent who teaches his kids, even though the things he does with his children, with the exception of Jack, who he does do is specifically superpowered based.
Yeah.
Everything else he does with Dash and Violet, it's being a dad.
It's pretty normal.
Like, oh, your daughter's depressed about something that happened at school, you talk to her. Oh, your son's having trouble with homework, you help him.
Right.
And that's all good. The stuff with Helen isn't bad, but it's more of just... It's just sort of like action fluff to a degree, not in a terrible way.
I personally really liked it. I think those action set pieces were actually really well done. Like in comparison to like the first movie's action set pieces, definitely with the animation upgrade and such.
Oh yeah,
like,
the hair looks so much better now.
Yeah, they're so much more impactful now.
It's even nice that when she stops a train, she didn't give like everybody whiplash and they got sued. So she beats her husband. She beats her husband.
I kind of like that callback because there was like the trains were detached and we said left side, and I was like, oh no. Oh no! They didn't get whiplash.
Oh, thank God! It's not like. Oh God! It's happening again! Not again! We're gonna have to go underground, and then we're all gonna be like banned again for the umpteenth time. No, but like that's the thing is that I think when it got down to it, I like her stuff, but I loved Bob being a dad. It was so heartfelt. There are so many moments where it's just like.
Yeah.
It was so hard for me not to cry.
Right.
And I'm telling you that just that bit where it's just like. I want to be a good dad. It's just like, you are a good dad.
Yeah.
Stop being so hard on yourself. You're essentially being a single parent right now. It's not easy.
Right.
But, like, I love this movie.
Yeah, I loved it too.
I wouldn't say better, but I certainly wouldn't say worse. I've really gotten sick of that, too, where people are like,
it should be better or worse.
Well, there's. I've always hated the argument where people are like, if it doesn't beat the first one, then the sequel shouldn't matter. And it's like, nah. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's better, like you should always progress forward with your movies.
Right.
But dude, if you could watch a movie where you love the sequel as much as you love the first one, I call that a success. It's like Paddington Bear.
Yeah.
We thought after the first Paddington Bear it was going to be like, oh, that's it. Like they can't make lightning strike twice, and then man,
so
good.
Yeah, so you would rate this?
Oh, must see.
Yeah.
I can't praise this film enough. The animation's fantastic. The actors, even the new voice actors, are fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything I would change with this movie. I can't think of too much I would say I disliked about this movie. I maybe watching it again, I would ingest more and take something else that I was like, I don't like that. But no, like it did everything I kind of wanted. Like, oh, I want to see Bob being a parent. Got that. Helen being a cool superhero. I got that. Helen didn't resent her husband for spending time with her kids. Not a problem. Never came up.
You got Violet and Dash actually being characters. We got that.
We got that. We got more supers showing up now, coming out of the woodworks. I mean, they were all kind of lame, unfortunately. Which
they were kind of just all this is side dressing sort of thing. But I didn't think they were.
Come on, one guy was literally his power is he's a freaking owl.
Hey, you had Owlman in one of your comic book universes, but I guess that was just the Ultimate Universe Batman.
He was just asshole Batman, which I guess he's just Batman who kills people.
Yeah,
so he's just Batman, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah, it could have just been a callback to that because he kind of looked doofy like that, just like the edit doofy.
I think part of the thing that I'm glad they didn't make like no one was like an obvious pastiche of anything. So it's not like you looked at something and you're like, well, that's Superman. That's awkward. Okay, like Supermansion. You and I really love Supermansion.
Yeah.
But even you sitting there watching, you're like, I'm not a comic book reader, but I'm pretty certain I can guess who most of these characters are clearly just a parody of.
Right.
And some of them, it's like, it's unbearably obvious. Like, Titanium Rex, oh, I wonder who this could be for anybody.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, right. So in this one, it's like, everybody is a unique hero. It's not like those powers never existed in comics or anything. Yeah. They're all unique heroes, but I couldn't stand the reason where it's like, man, you're all so lame, though. Like generic, just big, strong guy, and you're like, lame. Portal opener, lame. Owl guy. That one's a little unique, but also kind of lame.
I thought the portal girl had a really cool superpower.
Oh, Portal, I've seen it done.
No, I've never seen it done.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
there's
really
a character called Blink in Marvel Comics that does the same thing. She looks like a pixie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Voight's cool. She's an awesome character. Yeah. If anything, I would like to see her come back, and if they make a third film, if they even did a TV show for this, they could probably do something with all those other extra supers running around.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, now that the supers are back, after all, yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see, you know what I would like to see in a third film?
What?
I want a Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
A team of supervillains to go against a team of supers. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, that would
and it would be cool, just throwing this out there, maybe they form like a Justice League? Like Frozone and Mr. Incredible and Mrs. Incredible and the kids and maybe the other supers.
You know what I was actually sort of liked? I liked the fact that they always called her Elastigirl in this.
Well,
they never called her Mrs. Incredible.
I'm sure for marquee value, like when they make the toys and stuff, they'll probably call her Mrs. Incredible because DC might throw a lawsuit.
They had Elastigirl, not Mrs. Incredible at all.
I wonder if Disney has enough money now to be like, shut up, just like throw it. Bam!
No!
A lot of money.
No!
I didn't. Oh, here's one thing I didn't like. I didn't like her costume.
Yeah, I guess that was sort of the point because
like even she's like
and the motive. You're like, someone else designed her costume.
I love that. Even Edna in this small part, but wonderful.
Yeah, Edna's always great.
It was nice to see her come back and just be. She was just as quirky as ever. She was so funny.
Yeah.
But like I agreed with her too, where it's like, this is Elastigirl's new costume. Not a fan. Yeah. It's like gray with more gray and then black boots and just a little bit of red, and I'm like, I'm glad they didn't do something like overly effeminate, where it's like it's pinks and whites. Oh, they're girly colors. I'm glad they didn't do something stupid like that. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't like that costume design. I don't even really like Mr. Incredible's costume design either. I like his blue outfit more than I like his red outfit.
Yeah, the red seems a little bit too strong. The blue one definitely looks a lot more cool.
Blue feels more heroic.
Yeah, the red works a little bit better with Dash and Violet for some reason for me.
Oh, Dash because like he's the Flash.
Yeah, he's just so red. He's a red little blur.
Yeah, red and yellow it kind of works. And it's not that red, yellow, and black don't work. Those are the colors of Plastic Man. He's been using it since like the 1940s. I just find something about Bob's blue and black outfit really, really striking to me. Something about it, I look at it and I'm just like,
yeah.
That's a cool superhero costume.
Right.
But they want the whole family to have like the same uniform.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like the Fantastic Four. Yeah. So it's like, okay. Fun fact, actually, at one point when they rebooted the Fantastic Four for like the umpteenth time, they gave them red costumes. And from what I understood, most of the audience was like, I don't like the Fantastic Four red costume. And it's like, you're stupid. And it's like, wasn't that what the Incredibles were? I mean, granted, they were better written Fantastic Four, but still. So where's your stance on this movie? 14 years in the making.
I'd say I must see as well, like for every single reason that you just stated. I can't really add anything more to that. I especially love the Violet scene more than anything. She definitely came in as her own character.
She stepped up so hard because like she was
Flash.
She's so not like I don't mind her in that first film, but she's like a fart. She just sort of happens to be there, and you're just like, oh, Violet, hey, how you doing? You in the film?
Yeah, but Violet here was just was so energetic, so personable.
She's a teenager.
Yeah,
like she was barely even a teenager in the first film actually, because she was that generic. She was that generic shrinking Violet character in the first film. Yeah. So it's just like, what's her character in the first film? She's quiet. She barely does anything. And her thing is invisibility and barriers. Why? Because she wishes she could disappear and she always puts up shields. There you go. Isn't this brilliant? Isn't this great? No, this is boring.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything with it.
Now she's just an awkward teenager just going through her own phase of life. And
yeah, and I love the fact that the kids like being superheroes. Yeah. I like that. I like the fact that the kids are like, we want to go out and punch bad guys and like help people. And you're like, yee. And I like the fact that Bob's just like, I'm so proud of my kids. And Helen's just like, I just want us to be a happy family.
I don't want us to go to jail.
Yeah, I don't want us to go to real horrible jail. And like it was fun. I really loved this movie. I couldn't speak highly enough of it. And I just hope we don't have to wait 14 years for a third one.
Yeah.
But I also hope that Disney isn't like, we gotta ride that money train. And then just make a third one and be like, oh, this sucks.
I get my money from Disney. Money. Your name's just Elastigirl now.
Like, so I'm hoping for the best if this moves forward.
Yeah, me too.
I almost would say a TV show would be a great spin-off from this. Like, out of all the weird Disney things they do where it's like, we gave Rapunzel a TV show.
Yeah, this one might have the best sort of chance of that actually own sort of TV show.
Well, because like, dude, I think the Rapunzel show, the first episode, they retconned her hair to be back because it's like, oh right, we like cut her hair at the end of the last movie.
I've heard the Tangled is supposed to be like really good and stuff. They put like musical set pieces in that as well.
If it's good, that's great. We can maybe give it a shot.
Yeah, I would like to give it a shot.
If people want to see us watch Tangled and discuss it, we could comment below, I suppose, for that.
Tangled Ever After, whatever the first.
But like, it seems like if you wanted an ideal show, especially because Disney has been really riding high on their superhero merch as of late, I'm surprised The Incredibles doesn't have a show in the works of some capacity.
Yeah.
It seems like an obvious choice, and honestly, maybe them having a fully CGI'd show wouldn't hurt.
Right.
Because DreamWorks has been really cornering the market on that. I mean, sure, all their stuff is crap, but I mean, they've been cornering the market. Like, they did Kung Fu Panda, they did How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek is in the works now.
Yeah.
Monsters vs. Aliens got one. Boss Baby got one, I believe.
Yeah.
Puss in Boots got one, I believe.
Yeah.
Captain Underpants is getting one, I believe.
Yeah.
I feel like Disney should sort of step it up and be like, maybe we should throw out an animated television series.
No,
And
more live action comedy TV.
And
with live action characters.
And unlike DreamWorks, if Disney really wanted to step it up, they could probably get the voice actors to do the TV show.
No, most likely. Yeah.
Because they get an impressive amount of celebs on DuckTales. I mean, the fact that they got David Tennant to be the official voice of Scrooge McDuck is actually pretty impressive.
But that's why it's not shown as often in the show.
Well, I'm more annoyed with the fact that Donald barely shows up in the show, and I thought that was part of the marketing.
Yeah, they're like Disney, they rip out my heart
Stop screwing up.
every time.
So, we're agreement.
Yeah.
Must see.
So go out to see that.
Do you think it'll take the Academies this year?
Most likely, if more artistic movies take up most of the categories.
Most definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because for some reason artistic films don't ever get
They
any
all
love.
die.
Because I remember it was like Loving Vincent was last year. It's like, yeah, I ignored it. And you're like,
Oh,
oh,
but it's beautiful.
like, that was actually like interesting and not schlock.
Yeah, it may be a slow movie, but it's a slow mystery
Wasn't
film.
it in the same category too as like Boss Baby? And we're like,
Yeah.
are we really supposed to compare Boss Baby to Loving Vincent?
We like Boss Baby just fine.
Yeah, but like Loving Vincent is a documentary about the tortured soul that was Vincent Van Gogh, and it's really weird that it's like, by the way, did you see this movie where Alec Baldwin plays like basically baby Donald Trump? And you're like, yeah, oh yeah, it's basically the same thing. They're both animated.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but guys, go out to see Incredibles 2. It's coming out today when we're actually going to be posting this.
Yeah, I highly recommend. Get a chance. Get your friends. Go see it solo if you have to. See it with a buddy, though. I'm sure it'll be incredible.
Yep. Incredibles 2.
What the hell was that?
Uh,
Oh, no. I don't know. All right, well, as always, be sure to tune in.
to ToonGrin. And thank you for stopping by, watching stuff live.